My friends, I've missed you. Let's do a reading. I know that I've been doing readings, but I haven't been able to do readings like this all week. So I've missed you. And sometimes this feels more like sitting with you and talking to you. I don't know why. Or like we're having coffee or something, talking tarot. Anyway, I've missed you guys, and I wanted to come on and do a reading about. This may be a triggering reading for some of you because it's going to be about shadows. So I want to look at you and the person you're connected to or the person you were connected to. And I want to have a look at some of the shadows that were triggered within this connection. And we'll just talk about that. That's what this reading is going to be about. I'm going to be using a deck that Heather sent me. Thank you, Heather, for the deck. It's called Tarot of the Shadow Realm. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to use this deck today. And I have a few other decks. I have like five decks total. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decks total that we're going to look at shadows with. And if you're not resonating with the shadows I'm talking about, it's possible that I'm picking up on your person's energy. It's very bright in here. And I also wanted to show you my bull. Thank you for the bull, the person who gave me money for this bull. Thank you. And look at how cute they are together. Just look at them, so cute. Anyway, I'll put him back up on the shelf later. And I have been sleeping with the bull. So I'm waiting for the bull to tell me what its name is. I haven't come up with a good name yet, and it'll tell me the name when it's ready. But yeah, let's get into your reading. So what shall we start with? I think I'm going to start with these. So I have this Oracle of Pluto deck that talks about shadows. So I'm going to do like a you and them. And like I said, if you're not resonating with what I'm reading for you, it could be that I'm picking up on your person's energy. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But let's get into it. So let's get a card for you first, and we'll talk about what you're going through, or maybe what shadows this person triggered within you. Just keep in mind, shadow readings can be triggering. And if you're feeling triggered, it's because I'm triggering a wound. Couple things right off the get-go. When I was preparing for this reading, my nose started running. So you could be dealing with a runner, which I have to pause it and wipe my nose in a second. The other thing that I was experiencing was like energy in my solar plexus. So I was thinking of confidence. You could have triggered this person's lack of confidence. They could have triggered your lack of confidence. I'll be right back. All right, so now I'm all tickly. So let's see what shadow or what energy you're in. I'm not quite sure what's going to come out in this deck. It's been a while since I've used this deck. So I'll see how I interpret it here. It's very sunny here today. I can't get it any darker than this. If I open the window, it's like so bright in here. But yeah, so let's cut the deck for you. And we'll see what comes out for you, my friend. So let's have a look at you. You came out very quick. We have the spider. I don't know what this deck says, but for those of you who watch my other readings where I use that other animal deck, the spider is very divine feminine energy. And it also talks about claiming your life's purpose. So maybe this connection was meant to help you claim your life's purpose. But let's look at the spider and see what you're going through or what this connection was meant to teach you. Like I said, it's been a while since I've used this deck, so we'll see what this spider represents, and then we'll talk about it. All of a sudden, I'm feeling very warm, like Phoenix energy. Spider, it's not in alphabetical order. That's my only complaint. Spider, spider, spider. Where's the spider? I should probably just pause this. 28, spider. 28, weaving your own destiny, creative freedom, inner genius. So this is what this connection was meant to trigger within you, which again, I said, claiming your life's purpose. The spider is the ultimate creator, tapping into its inner genius to weave the perfect web required to entangle its prey. Free from any outside influence of how the web should be, the spider relies solely on its own wants, needs, and desires to achieve its goals. So it feels like this connection was meant to help you be able to speak up for your own wants and needs. Maybe you're someone who had a hard time putting up boundaries or telling people what you wanted. Like the snake and the eagle, the spider is another symbol that has permeated cultures and spiritual communities throughout history and around the globe. If either or both of these cards appear alongside the spider, take that as an affirmation that you are deep in your own spiritual initiation and indeed you're along the right path. So my nose won't stop running. So it could be that this person was responsible for you awakening to spirituality. Maybe that's how you found me. That's how a lot of people found me. It's how I found tarot. Regardless, the spider asks us about our own inner genius. We all have one, and it's likely that yours is begging to come out. Relinquish the traps of perfectionism, comparison, and admiration. Cut off and cut out any outside distractions that do not feed the authenticity of your inner genius. Whatever is waiting to be unleashed from you within is perfect just the way it is because it is yours. Consider that concepts such as good, bad, pretty, and ugly are subjective and often reductive labels that have nothing to offer someone that is raw, powerful, and important. So that's beautiful, my friend. That's your energy, or that's what this was meant to trigger within you. And I love that. Not that, you had to be triggered. But again, what is the blessing in this? What is the lesson? What is the blessing and the lesson, right? So let's look at your person's energy. What were they supposed to learn, or what shadow was meant to be triggered within your person? We have the squirrel. Focus. Your person could have been quite distracted. Your person could have ADHD with the squirrel. So where did I put there it is. I immediately panicked. Where's the book? So squirrel, back to the table of contents. That's not in alphabetical order. Drives me crazy. Squirrel 63. I looked right at it. So there's something about focus here. You were meant to realign this person's focus in the right direction. Like, you saw how long it took me to find the spider. I looked right at squirrel. 63. 63. Work-life balance. Oh my gosh, I channel so much of that in my readings. Planning for the future. So you were meant to help this person redirect the balance in their life. Maybe this person, I'm already hearing it. This person could have been very inconsistent with you and prioritized other things over this connection. It also talks about planning for the future. So maybe this person didn't really have an idea of what they wanted in their future, and you were meant to awaken that. My nose, as soon as I got onto your person's energy, it's just like run, run, run. So I'll just be right back again. I feel like maybe that's symbolic of this person. Like maybe they were in and out. Because I keep pausing it to go blow my nose. Hang on. So with the squirrel, I just went and blew my nose again. With the squirrel, like I said, maybe this person became quite distracted in this connection, or they seemed preoccupied with something else, or they just lost focus, right? So the squirrel, planning for the future. This is your person's energy. A fluffy-tailed squirrel is a busybody, constantly climbing, running around, exploring, and foraging for food. As the seasons begin to turn in the latter half of the year, in the northern hemisphere, the active squirrel prepares for winter. Oh no, I'm on fire. I'm starting to have that phoenix energy all of a sudden when I'm tapping into your person. The active squirrel prepares for the winter by burying nuts and seeds into the ground for later. Whenever squirrel energy is present, make no mistake, you are being asked to look ahead on your journey and plan accordingly. So you were meant to get this person to focus on what they should be focusing on. I'm hearing you were meant to direct them into proper alignment, right? Do you have all your ducks in a row? Or in this case, a sufficient supply of food stored away for the long journey ahead? You need a plan, and a solid one. Depending on your personality, creating a plan may or may not feel daunting, especially if this person has ADHD. We're complicated humans, especially us neurodivergent. Oh, I forgot to mention, look at my moonstone. I told you in a reading the other day that I got a moonstone ring and a moonstone necklace. Isn't it pretty? I found it on Etsy. It took a very long time to get here, and it matches my ring. See, ADHD. Squirrel. Jewelry. Moonstone. So it may or may not feel daunting, but whatever you're trying to accomplish requires attention to detail and great foresight. Take the time to write out your plan step by step, to have an adequate solution and some structure, stability, Emperor energy, that will benefit you later. It's typically better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. You'll thank yourself later. The squirrel card may also bring light to the idea of a work-life balance. All work and no play, as they say. Check in with yourself and see where your priorities are. So this is someone you were meant to help them revisit, re-examine their priorities. I'm hearing the Temperance card. Is there something that is sucking up too much of your time and attention? How can you free up some time, space, and energy to give attention to other things, you, in your life? Remember that work is only one slice of the pie. I love that. Work is only one slice of the pie. Love it. So that's what we're seeing for you and them. So we're going to continue on now to the next deck. I'm not going to get a lot of cards since I'm using 5 decks. But let's see what this connection was meant to teach you, your shadows. We're going to look at animal cards, and we're going to look at, is that divine timing card? This divine timing card is following me around. Did you notice that? Like it's following me around. Trust in divine timing. That was one of your lessons. This connection was meant to help you trust in divine timing and be more patient. As soon as I switched over to your energy, that heat went away. So your person is definitely evolving, I'm hearing. Anyway, so we're going to look at the shadow aspects of these animal cards. We have the runner, the horse. But we're going to start with you. So I'm not saying this is where you are now, but we're looking at what shadows this connection was meant to trigger within you. It was meant to bring big change. I just saw the dragonfly. We have the fox. This little foxy is following us around. So this fox, it was unsure of identity. So this connection was meant to help you become a stronger partner or mate. By healing yourself, we become stronger partners for our future people, or our current ones, right? But this, in reverse, talks about unsure of identity. So I feel like maybe when you met this person, you weren't quite sure who you were, or you thought you knew who you were, but this connection really brought you home to yourself. That's beautiful to start off with. That is absolutely beautiful. And you know, I like how that fox keeps coming out. But yeah, let's see what shadows it was meant to awaken in you. What shadows was it meant to... Patience. Patience. And nightingale. So this connection was meant to awaken your gifts. You know, maybe you're a writer, maybe you do poems, maybe you sing, maybe you do public speaking, or you want to, and maybe you had a fear of your own voice. This is about sharing your authentic voice, and that spider talks about speaking up for your wants and needs and what you want. That's wants. I'm being repetitive. Anyway. But that is something that this connection was supposed to teach you and help you tap into your gifts, your spoken gifts, or again, some people do it through writing. So maybe you're a writer. That's beautiful. Nightingale energy. Queen of Swords energy, I'm hearing. It's an air energy, but learning how to speak up for what you deserve, learning to speak your authentic truth. Like maybe this person, you had to stand up for yourself with them. Maybe they were like pushing you down and you had to, you know, stand up for yourself. I'm like, I don't know if this is a Taurus trait, but I'm someone that you can push me around and you can push me around and you can push me around. You saw it with that contractor. But once you go too far, you get the horns. Fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. When out of balance, so this is what this person triggered within you, shy, lump in throat. And this talks about music. So music could be very symbolic to you or your person or this connection. That is beautiful. I love that for you. That's magic. But let's get to the card that actually came out. Patience. Seriously, that divine timing card that I threw that day, whenever I do a reading, I end up like sticking it somewhere. And it's like following us around because it was on the bottom of that animal deck. And the card that you got is the lion, which is about patience. So that checks out. Fire energy. So we have air and fire. Where are you, little lion? So this connection was meant to trigger your confidence. So this person could have knocked your confidence down, and you had no choice but to rise up in your own confidence. I was talking about it in a reading earlier that it would be great if people came into our lives and encouraged us to be better, but sometimes they have to break us down for us to rise like the phoenix and be better, right? Anyway, the first word, patience. Don't shoot the messenger. So, the epitome of peace and strength. When out of balance, withdrawn, and too serious. So maybe you were someone who was taking life too seriously, or you were very withdrawn. And again, you could have had a lack of patience. You could have also, this is actually a beautiful energy because this talks about self-transformation. So this connection was meant to trigger your shadows to help you transform yourself and, be on this spiritual journey, I'm hearing. The lion is a master of the fire element and the living mascot of self-transformation. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. So this person triggered you to dedicate your life to spiritual growth and the connection with yourself and your own personal growth and transformation. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Ain't it the truth? Therefore, the lion is respected by all, but known intimately by a few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof. So you could have been quite, maybe you were quite closed off to people, or you were quite, I always heard that I was intimidating my entire life. People would be like, you're so intimidating. And I'd be like, what? I feel like a meek little whatever inside. I'm not intimidating. It was my quietness that intimidated them anyway. Yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealth, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. So you could have been someone who wasted a lot of energy and resources on situations and people that didn't deserve your time and energy. And this connection was meant to trigger that and transform it. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins, no matter how old you are. I always say, let's normalize, chasing our dreams in our 40s and our 50s and our 60s. Who says we have to be in our 20s to do so, right? And it doesn't matter. It's reminding me of the older people on the twin flame journey. Anyway, this very much feels like you could be a counterpart, but that's patience. Oh dear. And then the nightingale, which is also beautiful. Especially if you're a divine feminine. This connection would have inspired you, or should be inspiring you, to speak your authentic truth and be more authentic. And again, for some of you, maybe your sole purpose is to write a book or to write poetry or sing or speak to people like I do, right? Or use your voice to help others. So I'm actually just going to shuffle it for your person. The spider! Love it. Claiming your life purpose as I'm talking about it. So we're going to switch over to your person now. So your person. We have the buffalo. That's an interesting one. I don't get the buffalo a lot, but it's giving me Hierophant energy. I have some tarot decks where there's a buffalo on the Hierophant card, and there's a masculine embracing the buffalo. So this is going to be interesting because, like I said, I'm not as familiar with this card. You could be dealing with an earth sign. I just want to look. I don't think I looked at the bottom of the deck for you, but I am for your person. Earth. For some of you, side note, Reiki could be symbolic. Just side note. Just side note. Where is this buffalo? I just heard, don't mess with the bull. You'll get the horns, which is what I was talking about with you. Oh dear. So when out of balance, restless and lacks gratitude. So this could be someone who is very restless. It is kind of fitting in line with that squirrel energy. So this could have been someone who is really restless, lacking purpose, just kind of living day by day, which is a good thing to do, to live day by day. But I feel like your person was lacking future plans, or lacking, like they were just existing, is what I'm hearing. They were just existing before you met them. And I'm hearing book lovers everywhere, look away. But you could have triggered this person to really focus on what they wanted. And it looks like you triggered spirituality within this person as well. Lacking gratitude. So this could have been someone who really lacked gratitude towards life, towards situations, towards you. And this connection was meant to awaken them to the energy of gratitude. So the hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rise towards the heavens. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. And this is what you're meant to be teaching them. Oh, wow. So this is what you're meant to be teaching them. I'm going to get back to you in a minute. This is some powerful energy on your person's side. So this could have been someone who saw bumps in the road as like, that means it's not meant for me. You know, I'm thinking of like people who think of a breakup and they're like, that means it wasn't meant to be. The past is the past for a reason. The ex is an ex for a reason. Or, you know, this person could have thought that blockages or obstacles meant that it stopped them. You know, it stopped them from trying. So like I'm seeing someone who the minute they hit a roadblock, they stop trying and they give up. Again, falling in line with that ADHD, because ADHD people experience hyperfocus. So they become very focused on something and then just as quickly they unfocus on it and never touch it again. Speaking from experience. So your person could have been someone who attempted something and then when it didn't go their way, they thought, that means it's not meant for me. I'm not going to try anymore. Again, you were meant to help this person refocus their energy. The buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. And this is a life-changing energy. And it's supposed to remind us that life is a precious gift. And think about the squirrel. The squirrel is about teaching this person that work isn't the be all and end all. You can't take your job with you when you go, is what I'm hearing. So very interesting energy coming through for your person. We also have, I cannot get over the energy on the bottom of their deck. I didn't even look at the bottom of the deck for you, but these cards are screaming at me. The Panther, the annihilation of anything that is unnecessary. That's what you were meant to awaken in them. Anything that didn't align with them, anything that was unnecessary in their life, that goes for like toxic traits, were meant to be annihilated and destroyed. Maybe not destroyed, but like self-awareness and then healing is what I'm hearing. That's fire energy. Again, Spirit's telling me to look at these cards. Annihilation of the unnecessary, that's what I said. Self-destructive. So this person was like self-sabotaging and self-destructive, and you triggered them to stop doing that, is what I'm hearing. Or that's what you're meant to be triggering in them. And we have to bring into balance, get rid of the unnecessary. So anything that doesn't align is supposed to go. So you were meant to shake up this person's world, is what I'm hearing. And with the ultimate intention of bringing us towards a more fulfilling life. It's unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes feels devastating, but after the dust clears, it's easy to see the Panther's wisdom at work. That's powerful. And then underneath that, we have the Bear, which is awakening from a spiritual slumber. So you were meant to awaken this person. They were meant to awaken you. As a former photographer, the light in this room right now, because it's so bright, is driving me crazy. And I'm wondering, oh, hello. The earthworm got left behind. The earthworm and the frog got left behind. So for your person, I feel like they triggered a lot in you, but I feel like you triggered more in them, all this energy that's coming through. The frog is cleansing, clearing, healing. We've got this card so many times, I know it by now. Anyway, as a former photographer, the light in this reading is driving me crazy. But I'm meant to be, the sun is right on my face, so it's causing like a lot of shine. And as a former photographer, that's a no-no. But there's nothing I can do about it. So maybe this connection was meant to help you give up control, right? To not, like, to make you realize that you don't have control over everything. Just side note. So let's see what else this connection was meant to teach your person. That came out so quick. That's what she said. Okay, so your person, we have the crow. So it was meant to awaken them to their intuition and perhaps their psychic ability. Perhaps your person is very intuitive and they just don't know it. But you were meant to awaken this within them. And I just want to look at the shadow aspect of the crow. Get comfy, because this isn't going to be a short reading. That's the vulture, not the crow. Ungrounded, hypersensitive. Your person could totally be on the spectrum or be neurodivergent in some way, because ADHD and autism is coming through. But it was meant to awaken them to their intuition and their psychic abilities, like I said. And also possibly getting them to believe in spirituality or believe in the supernatural, is what I'm hearing. And it also talks about opening up the mind's eyes. So you were meant to awaken this person. And what's on the bottom? We have the sea serpent, untapped potential. You guys were just meant to trigger each other big time, I guess. Sea serpent, healing emotional wounds. So you were meant to trigger this person to heal emotional wounds that they've had perhaps their whole life. Heal them once and for all. Expressing ourselves without fear or shame. Knowing what we desire most. So this is what you were meant to awaken this person to. And it's kind of similar to that Nightingale card. So it's like a little bit of mirroring here, which is magical. This is also a spiritual card, the sea serpent. So that's that. Let's go to the next deck. So I was on the fence about whether or not to use these cards for this reading, but I feel like I do need to use it. Look, the kiss. What is the kiss about? I just want to see. I won't make eye contact with the next cut unless I have to. Who are we kidding? I'm going to look at it. I just won't look at it in the book. So the kiss. The kiss. The kiss. I can't find it. 185. 185. The kiss, the touch, the chemistry. That's really interesting because I looked at this on the cut and I'm taking this as both of you. So when in dark, something that this connection was meant to awaken in both of you or heal once and for all, trigger your shadows. We have neediness. So I'm looking at my divine feminines who need that sense of control or need to chase. We also have disrespect. So this person could have been quite disrespectful. And maybe you were disrespecting yourself in a sense, and this was taught you how to respect yourself more and not put up with bad behavior. And maybe this person was quite disrespectful in the way they communicated or something, and you were meant to trigger them to reflect on that on how to be more respectful. But yeah, it does talk about the touch, the chemistry. Again, Reiki, if you've been thinking about learning Reiki or doing Reiki or you do Reiki, confirmation for you. Because that's coming, just, again, it's coming through. So I just put that deck back together and cut on the same card. So let's see what this connection was meant to teach you. I'm going to cut the deck. We have Thanatos, which, look, it's a spider web. Thanatos. I don't think I'm saying that right, but I don't care. Thanatos. I know that's an initiation. So this connection, death, this was meant to initiate you and like destroy the old version of yourself and have you evolve into the new version of yourself. Oh my. Fear, insecurity about your age. I know that's going to resonate for some of you. Insecurity about death, maybe. So maybe you were someone who was really focused on time. So let's see what comes out, my friend, for you. So what shadows was this meant to trigger within you? Or healing, depending on how you look at it. We have the thread. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised by this? We have the thread. So it was meant to awaken you to the red thread of fate, is what I'm hearing. To your destiny. The thread. I gotta look in the table of contents again. The thread. 205. High Priestess and Hierophant energy, 205. So it was meant to awaken you to your High Priestess, your belief in destiny, and Hierophant energy. So maybe you're meant to teach others or be a spiritual leader for others. I'll never get sick of encouraging you to do that. The more of us there are, the better. Proper light workers. I've recently watched a documentary about someone who was a social media influencer. Or she some of you know who I'm talking about, where she was a Mormon and she did just her family on YouTube, and she went to the dark side. And watching that documentary, I was like, this is making spirituality look scary. Like, this is giving spirituality a bad name. It's going to scare people away from spirituality. The thread, the path, the vein, the circuit. The circuit of meaning within chaos. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and I can't say that word, circuitous, whatever it is, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug. So I'm hearing like red thread bond with this person. I'm hearing counterparts. Meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. Our mind and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came in this life to do. So, coming home to yourself. Remember who you are, Simba. Remember. Though it happens at the most profound level, it could be the simple incident that activates the thread. So this person activated your thread. That's amazing. If we are connected to the thread, we are free. So this was meant to free you spiritually, emotionally, free your shadows, I'm hearing. So that's beautiful. The thread. Love it. And maybe this connection was meant to teach you that there is a method to the madness. There's a method to the chaos, right? So let's look at your person. I just want to shuffle one more time for your person. We have the nectar. You're their nectar is what I'm hearing. Oh, that's interesting because I also saw the hummingbird among all of the cards I was looking at for your person. I saw the hummingbird. April could be symbolic somehow. Anyway, so let's look at your person and what this connection was meant to teach them. We have the tear, which is magical because that came out in a reading the other day. And the tear is about feeling your emotions. And the sea serpent talked about healing emotional wounds. We have Alethili, Alethea or Alethea or something. And look at this. We have black and white, yin and yang. And I'm wearing black and white. I was wearing a black and white sweater earlier. I mentioned it in a reading I did earlier that yin and yang could be symbolic. Another initiation card. So you both got initiation cards. So this connection was meant to initiate you into all of these things that I'm talking about. I don't know where I was going with that. Yin and yang. The truth. Clarity, revelation. So you were meant to bring this person clarity, and we saw that with the squirrel. And we have, when in dark, distortions, gaslighting, excuses. And not everybody who gaslights is a narcissist. Can we just get that straight? So this person could have had a very distorted view of relationships. They could have had a very distorted view on whatever went on between you. And they could have gaslit you when you tried to bring things up, when you tried to speak about your needs. Well, I'm just thinking about your energy. They could have gaslighted you. That could have been learned behavior too from their parents. If their parents were gaslighters, you know. I talked about it in a reading the other day, like a while ago when I thought that I was being gaslit. I started looking up gaslighting and I went like down a rabbit hole about gaslighting. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a few of these things that I sometimes do when I'm triggered. It's okay to admit that you have shadows. It's okay to recognize that. Anyway, excuses. So this person could have made up a lot of not made up a lot of excuses, but they could have had excuses as to why they couldn't heal, or why they couldn't be with you, or why they couldn't show up for you, or why they couldn't do this. Our soul recognizes the truth. When someone speaks it, a cool wave of relief washes over the room, and all the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of Alethea, or whatever it is. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. We can also recognize Alethea by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truths within ourselves. And what am I doing right now? I'm talking to you about the truth of, like, I'm admitting to you that, like, if you look under all the things of gaslighting, some people are out there gaslighting people and they have no idea they're gaslighting people. Anyway, but I feel like you had the nightingale, which is about speaking the truth. So I feel that by speaking your truth and showing your truth and living in your truth, you triggered this person's truth. I love it. This card requires us to step towards an act of truth. So you triggered this person to be really honest with themselves about some of their shit. Anyway, that was magic. I'm glad I got that deck. I have no regrets. So that's what we have so far. And now I'm just going to take a look at a few tarot cards for each of you. And then we're going to touch that sacred wounding deck. So get ready. I also have the book for the Sacred Wounding deck, which has more information in it. So we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. I am an intelligent person who makes good decisions. That's your affirmation. So I have this upside down. So we're going to shuffle. The Two of Cups. You were meant to trigger each other's shadows. Look at that. You were meant to trigger anything unhealed within each other and heal it once and for all. So I haven't used this deck yet on my channel. This is the first time. And I was wondering, like, what deck should I use for this shadowy reading? And the Shadowscapes, or whatever it's called. Perfect. We have the Six of Swords. So well, I'm not going to look at it. But the Six of Swords can sometimes talk about transition. So this connection was meant to help you both transition out of older versions of yourselves, away from some of that baggage that maybe you had from childhood. Take it as it resonates. I'm going to shuffle one more time. We have the Lovers, divine love connection. It was meant to trigger self-growth within you, love for yourself. The Lovers. Beautiful. I love it. Gemini energy. So we'll cut the deck. We have the Knight of Swords. So let's get back to it. We have the Knight of Swords. So impulsivity. I swear your person has ADHD, or you do. Somebody does. And a lot of people, I just have to say, are walking around out there undiagnosed. They don't even know it. I didn't know. I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, then OCD, then borderline personality disorder, before my doctors realized, nope, she just has ADHD and is on the spectrum. So I was over medicated my entire life for OCD, for depression, for anxiety, when I didn't need to be. I was over medicated. Anyway, just side note. It's coming through for a reason. So Knight of Swords, impulsivity, chaser energy for you. Chaser energy for sure with the Knight of Swords. Also reactions. So you and this person, I'm thinking of that fragmented soul card from that twin flame deck. So, you know, anybody with a fragmented soul has overreactions to seemingly small situations. Your person, there could have been intense arguments, there could have been hurtful words spoken. Remember the disrespect energy. So take that as it resonates. But we're going to start with you. So what was this connection meant to teach you, or what shadow did it trigger within you? Well, we have the Four of Wands. So this connection was meant to trigger your belief in your intuition. We've got the Knight of Cups on the bottom. So it was meant to help you trust your intuition, or triggered your intuition. We have 4-4 here. So that's maybe you were not stable or confident before you met this person. And through this connection, it's triggered some of those wounds that have helped you step into your power. Or if you haven't yet, that's where you're going. Four of Wands is, you know, very counterpart 11-11. So it was meant to trigger your stability, your own stability here. And again, it could have triggered, you know, you could be a twin flame. It's coming through, so I have to mention it. Nightmare Before Christmas could be symbolic. Let's just look at the Four of Wands. I should be looking in the book that it came with, which I'll do in a minute. So we're talking about the shadow aspects of these cards, what it's triggered within you. Lack of support. So this person maybe didn't support you. And maybe that's been a wound you've had your entire life, where you felt as a child that you weren't supported, your needs weren't met, because there's something here about your needs. It says instability. So this person could have triggered your instability, like anything that was unstable about you. Feeling unwelcome. So this person could have made you feel very unwelcome. And the lesson in it is that if you are stable within your own energy and you love yourself, you can never feel unwelcome. So this person could have triggered that within you. Lack of roots, home conflict. So this person could have triggered, I teach my mind to focus on happy and calm thoughts. Affirmation. 222. So what was I talking about? Lack of roots, lack of support. Do you know that a little while ago I had a lot of back pain, and I've always had back pain my entire life. So I started looking up I've been to the doctor about my back, and I started looking up what are the spiritual connections with back pain. And one of them is lack of familial support, which checked out for me. So this person could have triggered, you know, like maybe you don't have the support of your family, or you didn't in the past, and this person triggered that within you. Take that as it resonates. This person was meant to, you know, trigger you into stability in your own energy, not with this person, but in your own energy, being at home with yourself, stable in yourself, a sense of belonging. Again, when you accept yourself and you feel like you are at one with yourself, you can never feel like you don't belong. Does that make sense? And then we have the Four of Pentacles, which I already know what that is. It's insecurity. It's fear of abandonment. And chaser, like insert divine feminine chaser energy. That's where it stems from. So Four of Pentacles, insecurity, stability, boundaries. So this connection was meant to teach you how to put up healthy boundaries. And if somebody isn't meeting your needs and your wants, then by allowing them to continue to not do that, you're just hurting yourself. It does talk about insecurity and fear of abandonment with the Four of Pentacles. So that's what this person was supposed to trigger within you. Let's get one more for your side. I'm only going to get a few tarot cards because I've already gotten a lot of information for you. So what was this connection meant to trigger within you? We have the Two of Swords and the Queen of Wands, confidence. Knowing your own worth, your own confidence, perhaps something creative within you. The Queen of Wands, it's a lot. So this person, could have triggered you to be more open and honest with yourself. They could have triggered your confidence by again, not being that great to you. Glow up energy. So I'm hearing the separation triggered a glow up within you. Queen of Wands is very connected to spirit. So this person was meant to trigger your connection with spirit or help you strengthen your connection with spirit, your own confidence. I keep mentioning confidence. It keeps coming through, so I keep saying it. And also creativity is coming through with the Queen of Wands. So we've got, for what this person was meant to trigger within you, we have the Two of Swords. I was supposed to get that other book, but I'm feeling very called to this one. So this person was meant to help you have a new understanding of love. So maybe in the past you had very black and white thinking about what love should be. You could have been feeling quite disconnected from yourself with the Four of Cups. You could have felt very discontent with yourself, unhappy with yourself. And this connection was meant to trigger you to be more accepting of yourself. We also have this energy with the Four of Cups of shutting people out. So maybe you're someone who wouldn't let people in because of your childhood, or you were shutting out the world or shutting something out, and this person caused you to open up to those things. Take that as it resonates. Oh, I forgot to look at the Two of Swords. You had 444 come out because you have the Four of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Cups. So that's interesting. You are protected, spiritual protection. What am I looking up? Two of Swords. Squirrel. Two of Swords, difficult choices. So maybe you're someone who is afraid to make a decision or afraid to stand in your power or speak up about what you wanted. What else? There is something about indecision here. So you could have a fear of making the wrong decision or a fear of making choices, which I know is in that wounding deck, so it may come out. This was also meant to help you learn how to follow your intuition. And there's something about communication with the Two of Swords, so take that as it resonates. So very interesting energy on your side. So I'm just going to shuffle it once. We have the King of Cups. So for what you were meant to awaken in this person maybe wasn't putting in a lot of effort. This person could have been emotionally manipulative. Remember the gaslighting? Again, some people are out there walking around acting that way and they're just completely blind to it. They have no idea until somebody like you or a soul connection triggers them to look at themselves. Anyway, we have death. So you were meant death. Remember that came out in the very beginning, that Thanatos or whatever, death. So this is your person. You were meant to help this person transform into a new version of themselves. and to, let go of things that no longer align with their life. I feel like your person had a fear of change and you were meant to trigger that. And, one of those cards talked about change being uncomfortable. So let's look at your person. Death. I forgot to mention signs again. 5 of Coins, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. So what shadows is being triggered with this person my viewer is connected to? We have the 3 of Cups and Justice. I've been channeling so much of this energy lately of an imbalance of energy. So you were meant to trigger this person's balance, because that came out in the Squirrel card. So this person could have been really bad at balancing things, or their priorities were maybe on the wrong things. For what you were meant to trigger within this person, karmic lessons. But there's something here about, that gaslighting, I can't stop thinking about it. One of the shadow aspects of justice is blaming people unfairly. So this person could have blamed you unfairly or blamed everybody else their entire life, right? Again, that buffalo, the obstacles, when they hit an obstacle, they could have been like, well, it's that person's fault. Well, it's your fault. It's not my problem. It's not my problem that I'm hitting these obstacles. It's their problem. It's not a me thing. It's a you thing. And interestingly enough, recently I was filling out a lot of paperwork for my children who are being assessed for some of these neurodivergencies, because I don't want them to go through their life not knowing these things about them. But there's a section about ODD, which is, I can't remember the terminology for it, something defiance disorder. And one of the marks of that neurodivergency is blaming everybody else. Again, we're complicated human beings. Just because someone isn't the healthiest person doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It means that they could have... Actually, my child who has that is messaging me right now. Sign. So this person, one of their shadows could have been to blame everybody else and not take accountability for anything. Remember the gaslighting. Again, there's something about energetic flow here with the 3 of Cups. So balancing energy. And we also have the 9 of Coins, which... I'm not surprised that came out. I figured it would come out for one of you, if not both of you. So 9 of Pentacles, this person being guarded. So this person could have been quite guarded, quite similar to the energy that was coming through for you a little. More focused on the material than what's important in life. So this person could have been like, imagine being raised by a parent who teaches you I went through this, but a parent who teaches you that money is the most important thing. And if you relax, you're being lazy. And if you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean. And if you're not working, you're just a waste. You're just wasting your energy if you're not working. Fear of giving up independence. So you could have triggered this person's fear of giving up independence. Maybe this is someone who's hyper independent or wasn't ready to commit or give up their single lifestyle, right? It also talks about reckless, hasty, and stupid actions. The book's words, not mine. So this person could have made hasty, reckless, and even stupid actions and decisions. And you were meant to trigger them into this energy of self-improvement. You were meant to trigger them to step into their higher timeline with the 9 of Pentacles. Anyway, that's what we have coming through. I just want to look in this book to see if there's reversals. I don't know if there is. I don't think there is. The 9 of Pentacles. I'm just going to read this one paragraph. I realize right here that I am already innately free, and I never needed to do anything to convince myself of this. Yet for some reason right now it feels more real than it ever has before. That's because I'm allowing myself to seek and receive the power of fulfillment. That fulfillment is right here. So the Nine of Pentacles, fulfillment isn't over there or with that person or in your bank. It comes from within. Everything you need comes from within. Are you fulfilled? Are you free? If not, you must change. Change what you need to do for this to occur. If you do need to make a shift, you can only rely on yourself and no one else to experience this truly auspicious time. This is a fundamental part of your journey, one that you will never forget and one that you will always look back on fondly. Anyway, just for some reason, I felt really called to read that to you. So yeah, let's get into the shadow wounding, the sacred woundings. And again, I have a book, so I'm only going to get a few. And I'm really hesitant with this deck for some reason. I don't know why, but my guides always tell me to shuffle out. I don't know why, because for all of the other decks, I get you and them. But for some reason with this deck, my guides tell me to just pull the cards. And if you resonate with it, it's yours. If it triggers you and you're feeling triggered, uncomfortable, it means I'm triggering something that you're not aware of. And if it doesn't resonate at all and it's not triggering you, it's definitely your person's energy. So on the bottom, we have wounds from your family of origin. And so far in every deck, I've been taking the bottom of the deck to be both of you. So I just cut the deck and that's what came up. Will show up as deep-rooted patterns of unworthiness, fear of rejection, or a need to overperform to feel loved. It may manifest as struggles with boundaries, repeating unhealthy cycles. I'm looking at you and your person for this one. Or carrying unresolved emotional burdens that aren't yours to bear. And remember your person's energy, the sea serpent, talked about healing emotional wounds. And yours talked about boundaries, speaking up for your needs. So again, I feel like that's both of you. So let's see what comes out. We'll just see what happens here. So what sacred woundings are we dealing with here? We have body image wounds. Breaking repetitive pattern syndrome. Oh dear, hang on. Somebody's crying. Just hang on. I'm back 20 hours later. I'm back. It's funny. Some of those things that I was just talking about with you just flared up. And again, doesn't mean my child's a bad person or they're like, we need to stop villainizing people for things like that because it comes from how their brain works and they can't help how their brain works. We can help to work with it though. Anyway, so I don't even know what I was saying. Breaking repetitive pattern syndromes, needing to address a loneliness wound, and dealing with chronic guilt and shame. Will show up as well, I'm going to be repetitive because I'm going to read from the book. So I'm not going to read what the card says because it's already in the book. So dealing with, guilt and shame. Guilt and shame. Guilt and shame. I just saw the gaslighting wound. Where is it underneath C? Chronic? Hang on. I'm going to have to pause it. Hang on. So really strange. I cannot find this guilt and shame wound, but I think I'm just not seeing it. And I'm taking that as my sign. There's no table of contents and I cannot find it. I did bookmark all of the other wounds that came out and I want to read the family of origin wound since I can't find that guilt and shame one. I'll read the card though. Will show up as a constant feeling of unworthiness, as if you're carrying the weight of past mistakes or perceived failures that will never fully release. It may manifest as self-judgment, over-apologizing, or an inability to forgive yourself, often keeping you stuck in the past and hindering your ability to embrace your present self with compassion and acceptance. Family of origin wound. I'm just going to read this whole thing, so get comfy. Healing may not be so much about getting better as about letting go of everything that isn't you. All of the expectations, all of the beliefs, and becoming who you are. That's a quote by Rachel Naomi Remen. If you hear a drill in the background, I'm sorry. The family of origin wound, working on it, working on yourself, the drill. The family of origin wound often stems from deeply ingrained beliefs and expectations passed down through generations. These wounds are shaped by the messages we've received from our earliest caregivers, the ones who taught us what love, worth, and belonging look like, even when those lessons were painful or limiting. Over time, we internalize these expectations, shaping our sense of self around what others want or need us to be, rather than who we truly are. The family's influence can make us feel like we must live up to certain ideals, sacrifice our authenticity, or carry emotional burdens that don't belong to us. Healing this wound is not about fixing ourselves, it's about shedding what was never ours to carry. It's about letting go of the limiting beliefs and expectations imposed upon us so that we can return to who we truly are. The process requires us to release the grip. That's releasing the grip. I'm making up words now. Release the grip of family dynamics that no longer serve us and embrace our true essence unburdened by the past. When we stop defining ourselves, When we stop defining ourselves by other people's standards, we reclaim our personal power and begin to live authentically. The healing comes not from becoming better, but from letting go of everything that isn't us and stepping fully into the freedom of who we were always meant to be. Remember who you are, Simba. So, questions that you can ask yourself, journaling prompts. What role did I play in my family growing up, and does that role still affect me today? Do I feel guilt or shame when I prioritize my own needs over family expectations? Oh my goodness, I'm feeling triggered. I already knew all this about myself, it's fine. How have my family's beliefs about love, success, or identity shaped my own? Have I unconsciously repeated any familial patterns in my relationships? What boundaries do I struggle to maintain with my family and why? Do I feel I must earn love, approval, or belonging? What unspoken family rules have influenced my behavior, and do they still serve me? If I weren't carrying familial expectations, who would I be? What does family mean to me outside of blood ties? How can I honor my personal growth while acknowledging my family's influence? So, upright meaning, I'm just going to read both of them to you. A deeply rooted pattern of emotional pain, conditioning, or unresolved trauma inherited from one's upbringing, shaping core beliefs about love, safety, and identity. Remember the fox, unsure of one's identity. This wound manifests as reoccurring relational struggles, difficulty setting boundaries, or an internalized fear of repeating family dysfunction. There may be an ongoing battle between loyalty to one's roots and the need for individual freedom, leading to guilt, resentment, or an inability to separate personal desires from inherited expectations. Some may feel trapped in roles assigned by their family: caretaker, black sheep and scapegoat, or overachiever, while others may experience a profound sense of disconnection, as if they never truly belonged. And I'm going to mention that came out for you. Four of Wands. Remember the belonging? Emotionally, this wound can result in shame, attachment wounds, or fear of abandonment, even in adulthood. Physically, it may manifest as digestive distress. Remember when I started this reading, I was saying my solar plexus was grumbling, and I'm not hungry. Where was I? Nervous system dysregulation or chronic tension in the body. Over time, unresolved family wounds can limit self-expression. You, the nightingale, self-expression. That also came through for your person with the sea serpent. Fuel patterns of self-sabotage and create difficulty forming deep, healthy connections. Watch for patterns of guilt when prioritizing personal happiness. Triggered! Repeating cycles of familial dysfunction or struggling to trust others due to betrayals. And then the reversal, again, I'm going to read 3 of these. So if you don't want to hear it or you're feeling impatient, click off. If you want to hear it, get a box of Kleenex and get comfy. I almost said get a cookie. I almost said get a cookie. You deserve a cookie. Suppressing the family of origin wound by either cutting ties completely. So it's interesting because sometimes this could have been your person cutting ties with you, or you could have learned to just cut ties with people. And denying its influence, or by overcompensating, trying to fix or earn love from those who may never change. Instead of addressing the pain, some may reject their past entirely, pretending it has no effect, while unconsciously recreating the same patterns in relationships. This can manifest as avoidance of family discussions, shutting down emotions related to childhood, or refusal to acknowledge lingering wounds. Others may go in the opposite direction, pouring energy into repairing fractured family dynamics, seeking approval from emotionally unavailable parents, or staying in toxic familial connections out of obligations. Some may minimize obligation. Some may minimize their experiences, convincing themselves that it wasn't that bad to justify staying in unhealthy dynamics. Rose-colored glasses. Watch for patterns of over-explaining pain, seeking external validation to justify estrangement, or feeling responsible for family healing at the expense of your personal well-being. Beneath the avoidance or overcompensation lies the same need to heal, redefine family on one's own terms, and break cycles that no longer serve you. We have body image wounds. So I really wanted to read this because somebody recently said they were struggling with their self-image, and I had no idea what to tell them in my little comment section. So I'm glad this came out. You have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. So stop criticizing yourself and just accepting your body. One thing that I learned when I did a tarot course, it actually covered something about this, I can remember this course made me make a list about what I didn't like about myself physically, and then challenging that thought by what does that part of your body do for you that you can be grateful for. So like, for example, your nose, that was the example they gave. But if you don't like your nose, start thinking about all the good things your nose does for you. It allows you to breathe. It allows you to smell things. I'm sure there's more. From the moment we are born, the world tells us how we should look, how we should measure up, how we should fit into an impossible standard of beauty. And when we don't, we learn to see our bodies as something to fix, something to hide, something that is never quite enough. The mirror becomes a battlefield, and self-acceptance feels like an unattainable dream. But this war against yourself is not yours to fight. It was given to you, passed down through culture, media, and conditioning. And the truth is, your worth was never meant to be measured by appearance. Healing a body image wound is not about forcing yourself to love every inch of your body overnight. It is about unlearning the belief that your value is tied to how you look. It is about choosing appreciation over criticism, treating yourself with kindness rather than judgment. Your body is not an ornament. It is your home, your vessel, your bridge between the physical and the divine. And when you begin to see it through eyes of gratitude rather than scrutiny, you will realize that beauty was never about perfection. I have chills reading this. It was about your presence, about self-acceptance, about living fully in the skin you were in. So journaling prompts. What messages about my body did I receive growing up, and how have they shaped my self-perception? When did I start feeling self-conscious about my appearance, and what triggered it? It's funny how these are like, some of these are triggering me even. I just had like when I read that, I've never thought about this. Like, when did my self-consciousness start? It started when I was in junior high. What triggered it? I can remember what was happening to me in junior high. I was like seeing violence in my home. How do I talk to myself about my body? Would I say those words to someone I love? Probably not, right? So you should be talking to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. That's why I posted that thing. Stop being mean to my friend. Do I believe my self-worth is connected to my appearance? Why or why not? Probably because that's what society has taught us. How do I react when I see unedited images of myself? What emotions surface? What does self-acceptance mean to me? And have I ever fully felt it? Have I ever withheld love, experiences, or opportunities from myself because of the way that I look? How do I feel in my body versus how I think I look? Is there a disconnect? If I woke up tomorrow with no self-judgment about my body, what would I change? What would it look like to treat my body as a friend rather than something to fix? Upright meaning. An intensely ingrained struggle with self-worth, acceptance, and identity tied to physical appearance. This wound manifests as a distorted perception of the body, a hyper-focus on perceived flaws, and an ongoing internal dialogue of self-criticism. There may be cycles of obsession, shame, or punishment, exercising, restrictive eating, excessive comparison, or avoiding mirrors altogether. Some may develop a pattern of seeking external validation, seeking external validation to soothe inner insecurities, while others withdraw, convinced they will never be enough. The body may feel like an enemy rather than a home, leading to disconnection, numbness, or resentment towards its natural form. Physically, this wound can manifest as chronic tension, digestive issues from stress, or ignoring bodily needs due to self-rejection. Over time, body image wounds can create a deep fear of being seen. So maybe you have a fear of being seen with that nightingale. An inability to love without conditions, and a subconscious belief that worth is earned rather than inherent. Watch for patterns of body checking, self-deprecating thoughts, or using appearance as a measure of value. And the reversal. Suppressing the body image wound by either rejecting all forms of self-care or masking insecurities with an extreme focus on control, perfection, or validation. Instead of addressing the wound, some may disengage entirely, avoiding physical health, neglecting their needs, or pretending appearance does not matter, while secretly suffering from self-doubt. Others may overcompensate by striving for unattainable perfection, becoming obsessed with fitness, aesthetics, or external validation while never feeling satisfied. This can manifest as an addiction to beauty standards, compulsive cosmetic alterations, or a reliance on appearance for self-worth. Some may even project their insecurities onto others, judging or criticizing different body types to mask their own pain. Watch for patterns of fluctuating between self-neglect and self-obsession. A fear of aging or imperfection. Fear of aging, that came out in your energy for some of you. An inability to accept compliments without discomfort. Beneath the attempts to control or ignore the body lies the same longing to feel at home with oneself exactly as one is. I'm glad that card came out. I think some of us needed to hear that. Needing to address a loneliness wound. The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. Michel de Montaigne, it's a French name, I don't know how to say it. Loneliness is not just the absence of others, it is the absence of connection, both to those around you and to yourself. This wound convinces you that you are separate, that no one truly understands you, that even in a crowded room you are unseen. It whispers that love must be earned, that belonging is conditional, that you are either too much or not enough. Over time, this can lead to deep self-abandonment, seeking external validation, while feeling increasingly disconnected from your own heart. But loneliness is not proof that you are unlovable. It is an invitation to return home to yourself. Healing the loneliness wound is about shifting your focus from searching for belonging out there to cultivating it within. When you learn to sit with yourself, to embrace your own presence, hermit energy, being okay with being alone with yourself, to To see yourself fully and with love, you begin to fill that void that no amount of external connection ever could. True belonging is not about being chosen by others. It is about choosing yourself. When you no longer fear your own solitude, you realize that loneliness was never about the absence of people, but the absence of self-acceptance. And when you truly belong to yourself, you are never alone. How many times do I tell you people that? That as long as you have yourself, you can never be alone. Journaling prompts. When did I start feeling lonely, and what caused that sense of disconnection? Do I equate being alone with loneliness, or can I find peace in solitude? What beliefs do I hold about connection? Do I fear it, crave it, or avoid it? Have I ever surrounded myself with people, yet still feel unseen? Why? How do I react when I feel lonely? Do I withdraw, seek distractions, or reach out for support? Chaser energy, I was hearing. What parts of myself do I hide from others, and how does that contribute to my loneliness? There's something in that. Because when you're not being open about who you are and showing the world the real you, then of course you're going to feel unseen. It makes sense, right? And you had the Queen of Wands, so for some of this could resonate. Do I believe I am worthy of a deep, meaningful relationship? Why or why not? Have I ever rejected connection out of fear that it wouldn't last? What would my ideal, soul-nourishing connection look like, and what small steps can I take to invite it into my life? How can I show up more authentically in relationships to foster deeper bonds? Upright meaning. We're almost done. One more card. A deep and persistent sense of isolation, disconnection, or emotional emptiness, often stemming from past rejection, abandonment, or feeling unseen. This wound manifests as a longing for meaningful connection while simultaneously feeling misunderstood, alienated, or separate from others. Some may struggle with forming deep relationships, fearing vulnerability or rejection, while others may surround themselves with people, yet still feel profoundly alone. There may be an ingrained belief that one is too different to be truly understood, or that connection is always temporary or conditional. Emotionally, this wound, I'm making up lots of words over here. This wound can lead to sadness, numbness, or self-imposed isolation even when connection is available. Physically, it may manifest as tightness in the chest, heartache, shallow breathing. So I'll have to remember that for when I can't breathe. Loneliness wound. In my readings. Or chronic fatigue, emotional exhaustion from suppressing the need for connection. Over time, unresolved loneliness can result in difficulty trusting others, resistance to intimacy, or seeking validation through external means that never fully satisfy the deeper longing for belonging. Reversal meaning, suppressing the loneliness wound by either avoiding connection entirely, I'm looking at those avoidance and runners out there, or overcompensating through excessive socialization and surface-level relationships. Your person had a fear of giving up independence, so maybe your person was someone who was over-socializing with people. Some may convince themselves that they don't need anyone, rejecting closeness and becoming emotionally self-sufficient to the point of isolation. This can manifest as pushing people away, fearing dependency, or maintaining a distant, guarded persona to avoid the risk of being hurt. Where was I? Others may take the opposite approach, filling every moment with social interactions, relying on external validation, or becoming overly accommodating in relationships to avoid feeling alone. People-pleasing. Some may suppress loneliness by distracting themselves with work, entertainment, or fleeting connections. Looking at those Knight of Wands out there with that one. Avoiding the deeper work of healing the wound itself. Watch for patterns of emotional detachment, fear of solitude, or mistaking external attention for true intimacy. Beneath both extremes lies the same longing, to feel seen, valued, and connected in a way that nourishes the soul rather than temporarily filling a void. And then we have repetitive pattern syndrome. If you want something different, you have to do something different. Jack Canfield. Repetitive pattern syndrome is the experience of reliving the same struggles, attracting the same toxic relationships, or making the same choices, despite wanting a different outcome. This wound convinces you that change is impossible, that no matter how much you hope for something new, you will always end up back where you started. It manifests as self-sabotage, falling into familiar yet unhealthy dynamics, or feeling powerless to break cycles that seem ingrained in your life. You may ask yourself, why does this keep happening to me? I've talked about this on my channel. I'll just use myself as an example. Like, I kept feeling like people were walking all over me. And I'd be like, why is this happening to me? Do I have gullible written on my forehead? The lesson that I was missing was that I would let them walk all over me and say nothing. I wouldn't defend myself. I wouldn't fire them. I'm thinking about that contractor again. Karmic lesson. He was a huge karmic lesson for me. Anyway, so you may ask yourself, why does this keep happening to me? But the truth is, the pattern persists because part of you still unconsciously plays by the same old rules. Healing this wound begins with radical self-awareness and intentional action. The cycle only continues when you react the same way, choose the same comfort zones, or ignore the lessons life is trying to teach you. If you want something different, you must be willing to do something different. That means setting boundaries where you never have before, choosing self-respect over familiarity. I don't know why I struggle with that word. And walking away from what no longer serves you, even if it feels uncomfortable. Maybe you had to walk away from this connection. The moment you disrupt the pattern, the spell is broken. You're the one who's come to break the spell. You are not doomed to repeat the past. You are being invited to rise beyond it. Journaling prompts. What reoccurring themes or struggles have appeared throughout my life? Do I recognize any repeated patterns in my relationships, career, or personal habits? Anyway, I do. Have I ever blamed circumstances or others for patterns that I may have subconsciously been repeating? What fears arise when I think about breaking free from a familiar cycle? Do I believe that I have the power to create different outcomes, or do I feel stuck in fate? How do I react when I notice myself slipping into an old pattern? Do I embrace it, resist it, or shame myself? Have I mistaken predictability for safety even when it has caused me pain? What is one new way I can respond the next time I notice a reoccurring situation? How would my life change if I truly believed I was capable of choosing a new path? What supportive habits or mindsets can help me consciously break free from repetitive patterns? And then we have the upright meaning. I'm going to read both. A deeply ingrained cycle of repeating the same emotional, relational, or behavioral pattern, often rooted in unresolved trauma, subconscious conditioning, or karmic imprints. This wound manifests as feeling stuck, reliving similar painful experiences, or attracting the same unhealthy dynamics despite efforts to change. Some may struggle with self-awareness, failing to recognize their role in the cycle, while others may feel powerless to break free, believing that they are destined to repeat the past. There may be an internalized belief that change is unstable or impossible, leading to self-sabotage or fear of stepping outside of the familiar, even when it is harmful. Emotionally, this wound can create frustration, learned helplessness, and deep inner conflict, desiring transformation but unconsciously resisting it. Physically, it may manifest as chronic stress from repeated emotional triggers, digestive issues, difficulty processing past wounds, or exhaustion from reliving similar traumas. Over time, unresolved, repetitive patterns can lead to stagnation, loss of confidence, and a reluctance to take new risks. Watch for patterns of attracting the same type of relationships, making the same mistakes, or struggling to break habits that no longer serve you. And then this is the last paragraph, and then you're done. Class is done. Suppressing the repetitive pattern syndrome wound by either ignoring the cycle, convincing oneself that these patterns are random or unavoidable, or overcorrecting by attempting to control every outcome. Some may refuse to acknowledge that they are caught in a loop, blaming external circumstances instead of exploring the deeper reasons behind their repeated experiences. Remember, I talked about your person blaming others. This can manifest as denial, deflection, I talked about it, or continuing to engage in harmful behaviors while hoping for different results. Others may go the opposite direction, become hypervigilant, obsess over self-improvement, or fearing any misstep that might lead them back to an old pattern. This can result in rigidity, avoidance of emotional risks, or perfectionism that stifles personal growth. Some may suppress this wound by staying in a cycle staying in a cycle of overanalyzing rather than taking tangible steps towards change. Watch for patterns of either avoiding introspection or overcompensating with excessive control, both of which stem from the same need to trust oneself, embrace new choices, and consciously disrupt limiting cycles. So that's it. I know that was a doozy, hey? So we're done this reading finally. I don't even care how long it took me to record it. I have no sense of time when I channel. And that's how you know your soul is happy, when you lose sense of time, because time is an illusion. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here today. That, like I said, that could have been triggering for some people. So I'm going to leave it here. But I am sending you lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.